Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers. This is my fourth reading of viewer request for Pluto, and today from my Pluto book I'm going to be reading Pluto in the ninth house or Sagittarius. So any of you who have natal Pluto in Sagittarius or the ninth house, let's take a look and see what that says for you. And hopefully I can do all of this whole reading in one video. Okay, Pluto in the ninth house or Sagittarius. Individuals who have Pluto in the ninth house or Sagittarius have had the desire and evolutionary need to understand life and themselves in a cosmological, metaphysical, philosophical, or religious context. In the broadest possible sense, the ninth house and Sagittarius are the archetypes through which humanity has a need to explain its connection to the phenomenological, there we go, nature of the universe and the world in which we live. The eighth house and Scorpio generated the awareness of, quote, larger forces in the universe and the world, forces that were sensed as originating outside the individual. Consequently, there was a need to form some kind of relationship to these forces in order to become identified and united with them. In effect, the relationship allowed the individual to experience these forces directly and thus to undergo a metamorphosis of his or her personal limitations. And again, they're speaking about the house placement, which is before the ninth house in Sagittarius, which is the eighth house or Pluto in Scorpio. Okay, so this is before you who have this placement now. Okay. Because of the direct need to experience these larger forces, people and cultures have developed rituals, methods, and techniques to harness, possess, control, and know them. As a result, this desire and need has led into an understanding and explanation of occult or hidden knowledge. It has also led into internal psychoanalysis or psychological investigations of the inner dynamics or laws that explain who and what we are and how we work. In the ninth house or Sagittarius, the desire and need has been and is to explain one's relationship or connection to larger forces. Whereas the person with Pluto in the eighth house or Scorpio sensed this connection, in the ninth house or Sagittarius, the connection is known. That's cool. As a result, individuals with this placement have needed freedom to pursue whatever experiences are necessary to discover the knowledge that explains those larger forces. As with Pluto in all natural fire houses, the ninth house placement gives the individual the feeling that they have a special destiny or identity. In the ninth house and Sagittarius, the special identity is directly linked to the individual's relationship to the cosmological, philosophical, metaphysical, or religious principles that explain their connection to the universe and the world. These people recognize the phenomenological, nature of the universe at large and in contrast to those with Pluto in the third house or Gemini, are not as focused on the immediate physical environment. They understand that. In a phenomenological sense, the world or universe simply exists. That it exists of itself beyond labels or classifications. Yet because it exists, ninth Pluto house individuals have desires to understand the fundamental truths that explain the existence of the world and the universe. Truth implies natural laws or principles that govern the totality of life as well as the individual's life. On this basis, these individuals desire to be free in order to generate whatever experiences are necessary to discover the truth of their existence. They need to understand and explain their relationship to the universe via the principles founded on cosmological, metaphysical, philosophical, or religious terms. As a result, many of these individuals come into this life as natural loners. Many of these individuals have traveled far and wide throughout many lifetimes in the pursuit of truth and knowledge. Many have incarnated into diverse cultures all over the planet. It is also common for many to leave a culture, society, or nation in which they felt inhibited or stifled in their pursuit of truth and knowledge. Consequently, many ninth house Pluto individuals have and will experience a fundamental alienation from their own culture and society. Alienation occurs because most cultures, societies, or nations are based on a specific religious or philosophical system arrived at by general consensus that serves as the framework for understanding or explaining its relationship to the world and the universe. Because the desire and drive of the ninth house Pluto person is to search for and discover truth in an unrestricted way, alienation arises from the limitations of society. There you go. There you go. These limitations lead to external and therefore internal confrontations for these individuals. The confrontations reinforce the sense of alienation from the culture or belief system into which they have been born. Given a prior life history of incarnating into diverse cultures, many of these individuals will experience alienation because each new culture or society will be different from the one that they have just experienced. The unconscious memories of the most previous life experience will induce the alienation relative to the new culture. And I want to say too, for those of you, it's all right if you don't believe in reincarnation. That is perfectly all right. Hopefully you are still here and listening, because it also, if it's not reincarnation, it's absolutely a genetic, or can be a genetic generational thing that keeps being downloaded into each of your ancestral lineage to you, and if you've passed this on to any of your kids, for some of you. Alienation is a necessary experience because it fosters an elimination of any barriers be they individual or cultural, that are preventing a direct understanding of the fundamental laws and principles that govern the comprehensive and total truth of existence. Because of this evolutionary impulse, many ninth house Pluto individuals will feel rootless. Okay. Rather than identifying with any specific nation, they will consider themselves citizens of the world. Oh, that's neat. On the other hand, many of these individuals will naturally gravitate to certain philosophical or cultural expressions that reflect their own inner intuitive sense of how life should be explained or understood. For some, this natural gratification to a specific philosophical or cultural expression of truth is at odds with the society or cultural, maybe culture, that they were born into in this life. The memories of the past often create a desire or need to rediscover or align themselves with a religious or philosophical tradition from another time and another place. For others, the culture that they are born into will mirror perfectly the philosophical or religious tradition necessary to continue their evolutionary journey and to fulfill their karmic requirements. For these individuals, the experience of alienation will be minimized or eliminated altogether. Because ninth house Pluto individuals desire to understand themselves in these ways, there is a concentrated development of the inner intuitive faculty. Because these individuals know that they are connected to larger forces beyond themselves, and because of the desire to discover the natural laws that explain this connection, they have necessarily had to develop an intuitive faculty, a sixth sense. Intuition is the inherent ability in each of us to know something without conscious reasoning. This knowing or understanding occurs without any effort on the part of the egocentric and subjective mind. Because these individuals know that they are connected to larger forces in the universe, they have tapped in to those forces. That's very cool. Laws and principles translate into concepts or conceptualization of those forces. Concepts and conceptualizations translate into beliefs. A composite of concepts, laws, principles, and beliefs translates into a comprehensive philosophical, metaphysical, cosmological, or religious system. The specific nature of mankind's belief systems are determined by individual and collective evolutionary development and geographic locality. In other words, the fundamental laws or principles are the same for all individuals or cultures, but are conceived, conceptualized, and expressed in a diversity of cultural and individual ways. This becomes clear when we observe the world's amazing array of religious and philosophical systems. Even though the basic laws and principles are the same for all peoples and cultures, the individual and cultural interpretation of those principles reflects not only diversity, but individual and cultural necessity. Individuals with Pluto in the ninth house or in Sagittarius will interpret these intrinsic laws and principles according to their own natural evolutionary condition and karmic necessities. The evolutionary need to focus upon and develop the intuitive faculty in order to know the truth of reality creates many problems for the individual and for society. These problems are rooted in the two coexisting desires within the soul. The desire for separateness results in an egocentric over-identification with a specific philosophical or religious system that reflects the needs of the society or the individual. This over-identification is based on the need for emotional, physical, spiritual, and intellectual security and stability. This need for security and stability gives rise to the need for the society or the individual to defend against the intrusion of other interpretations of the same intrinsic laws and principles by other cultures or individuals. In this state of delusion and separateness, the individual or culture will either attempt to impose its system upon another or will withdraw from the threat posed by another individual or culture. The history of human experience on the planet abundantly demonstrates this fact. The recent turmoil in Ireland, the Middle East, South Africa, China's imposition on Tibet, and so forth are only the latest manifestations of this sad evolutionary development. And of course, when he was writing this book, which I don't know when this was completed, but it was years ago. The negative manifestation of this evolutionary condition is what I call the Billy Graham archetype. The need to convert others to one's own point of view. In a delusive way, this need is called teaching, but is really indoctrination when that which is being taught is presented with the attitude that we are right and they are wrong. I am right and you are wrong. The stated goal of Christianity has been to, quote, convert those of other religions to the Christian faith. Thus, we have missionaries. Of course, many other religions also seek to convert others. Sects, S-E-C-T-S, within a religious system also occur because an individual or a group of individuals interpret the tenets of the religion in a different way than that prescribed by tradition. Individuals with Pluto in the 9th house or Sagittarius commonly need to convert others to their points of view because of their own need for emotional security and stability. Again, this security and stability is linked with their particular interpretation of the laws and principles that apply to all. When an individual or culture exists in a state of separatist delusion, the phenomenon of generalizations will occur. In interpreting the laws and principles of the universe in specific ways resulting from evolutionary and karmic necessity and geographic locality, the specific interpretation is projected in a generalized way as truths that apply to all. The principles of morality, ethics, and virtues that are reflected in specific interpretations and versions of a particular philosophical or religious system are also projected as generalized truths that apply to all. In this state, the individual or culture will consider others wrong when they do not conform to their specific version of the truth. And that truth is in quotes. True teaching occurs when the individual or culture manifests the attitude that what is being taught is only one expression of the phenomenological truths or principles of the universe, and that these truths or principles should be considered or experienced for oneself. Absolutely. Another problem related to the development of intuition is that the individual may not know how to communicate that which they are intuiting through common, linear, rational language. The development of intuition is a function of the abstract mind, the ability to ponder, wonder, or speculate upon the nature of existence in a cosmological or phenomenological, that was context, phenomenological context. That is a hard word for me. And as you can see, he uses it several times. Okay, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I apologize if I'm not. To abstract oneness from one's immediate physical environment and to ponder one's relationship to the universal. And I forgot to mention in the beginning, if any of you want the written text of this, copies of this, just email me and I will email you the copies. Okay. The power of abstraction directly relates to the development of the intuitive faculty. Thus, these individuals simply become aware of principles and information that are not products of their own education, deductive analysis, or mental gymnastics. This is knowledge that simply comes into the mind. Many of these individuals may not understand why they know what they know. They just do. A potential problem occurs when the individual attempts to communicate that which they, quote, just know in a way that can be grasped or understood by other people. To find the words that express the intuitive knowledge or that which the person already knows from prior life efforts. This communication problem can obviously be very frustrating. For example, many ninth house Pluto individuals have had many lives in the East. The language systems of the East have a totally different structure than those of the West. In the West, a word describes a fact, a detail, or a particular object. Oriental languages contain characters that describe whole concepts. Changing one line within the character can alter the nuances of expression of that concept, or even change the concept entirely. Wow. Ninth house Pluto individuals naturally think in conceptual wholes, HOLES, based on prior evolutionary intent. To find the specific words to explain an intuitive concept can create many problems, especially during childhood. This can reinforce the natural sense of alienation that was discussed earlier. It can promote withdrawal from the new life or culture and a lifelong search for a philosophy that feels natural and comfortable. This search may be played out physically by traveling to many states or countries. It can be played out intellectually through reading works of literature or philosophy, or it can be played out by simply drifting. These, quote, drifters never stay long in one place or connect in any committed way with any one person, environment, or philosophical orientation. Another problem inherent in the development of intuition is the potential for experiencing visions of the future. These visions may be of a very personal nature, or they may be of a collective or planetary nature. The problem is twofold. One, the visions may reflect deep unconscious desires that translate into, quote, meant to be experiences or potential experiences for the individual or others who are in close association with the individual. These visions can be of a positive or negative nature, depending on the complex interactions of many karmic dynamics built up over many lifetimes. The potential problem is that the, quote, vision can merely be a reflection of the individual's own subconscious desires. And what I want to interject really quick here is there, to me, it's saying is another reason to absolutely know what was put into your subconscious, into your for your personal work, your north and south nodes of the moon. Consciously know that, because that's could be one of the subconscious things. This dynamic can create the self-fulfilled prophecy because if the desire is strong enough, it cannot help but transpire. In this way, the individual denies responsibility for his or her own actions or the effect of the vision on another's life because it was, quote, meant to be. In other cases, an individual may truly have visions that are not based on unconscious desires. These visions simply reflect the individual's highly developed intuition into the nature of things and the future. And again, I'm getting absolutely, because what I was saying about north and south nodes, those of you that have this placement, Pluto placement, it's imperative because you're going to have subconscious blockages. You're going to have subconscious energies that's going to make you feel like this is the way to go, or and that's what's going to get your needs met. And so you want to get those cleaned out of your subconscious. And that's what this is saying to me. That's what this author is saying, so that you will know for sure then when you have these visions that they are completely free of any of your subconscious stuff that wasn't taken care of yet. Wow, that is very cool though. Once you clear that pathway, that is very, very amazing. Okay. Problems occur because others often do not want to know about the vision or do not understand how the person's vision may concern them. Jesus of Nazareth had a ninth house Pluto in Virgo. He knew the truth of his visions, yet others were confused or did not want to know about them because of the effect they would have on their own lives. There's controversy about Jesus. You may or may not know that. So I'm just putting that out there. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of lies that we've been taught and told in that sense and through the Christian religion, the Bible, unquote. So I won't go any further there, but some of you will know what I'm talking about, and others. I don't mean to offend you or get you angry, but you might want to look maybe that if that does tweak any negative response in you, emotion, that's a trigger, and then ask yourself, okay, why are you getting triggered in that way by what I just said? Because I didn't say anything that would evoke that type of emotion out of you. So you can find where that originates from and free yourself of that. Okay, now it's just a little side note. It's not going to be for all of you. Okay. 2, the individual can experience collective or planetary visions that apply to all of us. Nostradamus, who had Pluto in the 9th house in Sagittarius, is a classic example. Sometimes these visions accurately foresee later events. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't. Some understand, some don't. Individuals with Pluto in the 9th house or in Sagittarius are learning that the future can be altered through individual and collective choices and actions. Consequently, they must accept the possibility that a vision may not come to pass, and they must learn not to become overly attached to or identified with the vision on an egocentric basis. Above all, they should be aware that they did not, quote, create a vision of this kind. This kind of vision occurs because of a highly developed intuition that is tapped into universal and cosmic forces. Yes. By being unified with these forces, the osmosis effect of Pluto produces the knowledge or vision. These kinds of visions occur of themselves. In general, then, individuals with Pluto in the 9th house or Sagittarius have had the evolutionary desire to expand their horizons of personal awareness. They have needed to identify themselves with abstract principles that allow the development of a cosmological belief system that explains their relationship to the world and universe. Their emotional security is linked to these belief systems. The natural evolutionary condition of an individual and the South Node with its planetary ruler will relate to how this desire and need has been fulfilled in the past. What was I just saying? The importance of knowing, consciously bringing out your north and south nodes of the moon. Wow, and I have not read this before. Wow, this is the first time. Because I have a different Pluto. I have Pluto in Virgo in the 6th house. Wow, how amazing. Okay. Wow, let me read that one more time. That is just, okay. The natural evolutionary condition of an individual and the South Node with its planetary ruler. So that means, the South Node, what zodiac sign your South Node is in, plus the planet that rules that zodiac sign of your South Node. That's what he's talking about. Will relate to how this desire and need has been fulfilled in the past. whether you're talking past ancestrally, generationally, or past life, however you would like to see that. It doesn't matter. That's amazing. Okay, let me see where we are on time. Okay, I have about 10 minutes. Let me see if I can get through. We have a couple more pages. I'm going to fast forward here. He's giving particular cases, which I'm going only reading general. So again, if you want me to send you the written, let me know. Just send me an email. The polarity point is the third house, or Gemini. The evolutionary intent for this life is one wherein these individuals must learn that their version of reality, their beliefs, principles, laws, ethics, and morality are relative. They are learning. You might be leaning to, learning that the paths to truth are many, and that each person has their own path and way of discovering the truth for themselves. This lesson occurs through necessary philosophical or intellectual confrontations with other people or through cultural alienation. By experiencing diversity or differences in this way, the fundamental security of these individuals will be challenged. Their security is linked with the conceptual framework or beliefs with which they have identified themselves, be it atheism, existentialism, any religion, agnosticism, and so forth. Having their security challenged or confronted in this way, these individuals can be very resistant to other points of view. Thus, they can be very argumentative as they attempt to convert others to their point of view by exposing the weaknesses in another's argument or convictions. And yet, they are destined to draw to themselves other people who are as powerful or more powerful than themselves. These others will have different points of view or beliefs that show the weakness or limitation in the individual's own system of beliefs or conceptual organization. These confrontations can also occur through others who simply do not grasp what the individual is trying to communicate. This kind of confrontation occurs in order to teach the individual how to communicate in a language that is understandable to others. Let me look at the clock again. Okay, we're still good. In order to do so, these individuals must study the diversity of life with respect to all the levels on which it exists. In studying life in this way, the individual is forced to realize the relativity of experience, of paths and truths. In this way, the individual can learn how to communicate in a logical and succinct way in order to share with and relate to others within the context of their reality. By so doing, they can allow themselves to be educated by others, and others can be educated by them. Thus, the individual can learn how to expand the frontiers of their awareness in even larger ways. That's very cool. Through both of these evolutionary routes, the ninth house Pluto individual will progressively learn to understand the essential unity of all paths, of all truths. They will learn how to take many diverse facts or pieces of information and, through their inherent ability to intuitively synthesize, arrive at ever greater understanding of the total nature of personal, collective, and universal truths. They will thus progressively become less defensive and develop an attitude of appreciation and understanding of the relativity of truth as expressed through individuals and cultures. there will be no need to convert. In its place will be an attitude of mutual sharing, of suggestion rather than conversion, of teaching rather than indoctrination. That's beautiful. Many ninth house Pluto individuals bring a natural wisdom into this life based on prior life efforts. Let me see what the time is. Okay, I just want to say, if I am in the middle of reading and the video stops, you want me to read the rest, send me a comment, leave me an email. Many are natural teachers as a result, yet until they learn third house or Gemini evolutionary lessons, they will be karmically blocked from being able to express or meaningfully relate their knowledge to other individuals or to society. Some will interpret this block as a, quote, sign to disassociate themselves from the mainstream of cultural life. They will rationalize this, quote, sign into an abundance of philosophical justifications to explain their non-involvement with the world into which they are born. Others who refuse to understand the real meaning of this karmic, quote, sign will similarly use philosophical justifications to explain these kinds of actions. These types become the alienated drifters who forever roam the highways and alleyways, searching for something that is never found. Others take refuge in their cherished belief systems and remain isolated from those who do not believe as they do. Relating only to those who share their principles, they hang out together in a state of philosophical and cosmological smugness, looking down upon others who do not share their point of view. Those with Pluto in the ninth house who understand the real significance and meaning of the, quote, sign, resolve to understand the evolutionary lessons at hand. According to their evolutionary capacity, they can transform our vision as to the nature of reality in ways that are as diverse as life itself. Okay, I'm almost done. Just one more paragraph. Common characteristics of the individuals with Pluto in the ninth house or in Sagittarius include a deep feeling of alienation, extremely intuitive, conceptual thinkers, can be very fixed in their beliefs, need to convert others to their point of view, value honesty, can be natural loners, philosophical, ability to laugh at oneself, can make others laugh at themselves, natural storytellers with a tendency to exaggerate, concerned with truth and not opinions, tend to be natural people rather than cosmopolitan and sophisticated. Famous people with this same Pluto: Khalil Gibran, Michael D. Nostradamus, Michelangelo, John F. Kennedy, Jesus of Nazareth. Okay. I completed all right. I'm still going. I'm still running. So, okay. That's all I have for today. Any questions or anything else, send me a comment. Send me an email. Just love to hear from any and all of you. Okay. Until next time. Bye.